Big love finds a way.
Wherever you are.
Big love finds a way.
Whoever you are.
Big love finds its way
to every heart.
Big love finds a way to renew us.
Big love finds a way at 435 Peachtree Street, downtown Atlanta.
Hi, I'm Ann Kramer, and I have the joy and privilege of serving as our convener for our St. Luke's Community Ministries Council. Over 24 ministries that boldly live every day in the heart of downtown Atlanta. And for us, they demonstrate our baptismal covenant to strive for justice, peace, mercy, equity, and to respect the dignity of every human being. And you, our parishioners, are there every day too, sharing your heart, your hands, and your voices with great big St. Luke's love. So listen, let's learn more about our St. Luke's Community Ministries.
Hi, I'm Bill Bowling. I first came to St. Luke's in 1975 as a volunteer for a fledgling new program called the Community Kitchen. I found my first job here. I became the director of the Community Kitchen and really found my calling in life to feed the hungry and take care of the poor. Out of that, we grew the Atlanta Community Food Bank and ultimately Crossroads Ministries. You know, when we were serving folks in the Community Kitchen, we had so many people, because it was the only feeding program in town, that we had to start feeding in shifts. And then I had the idea of let's get some other congregations to open their doors, and I promised them food. Of course, I didn't have the food, but I knew I could find it and God would help. So out of that came the Atlanta Community Food Bank, and we actually started in the basement of the church, of the Annex building, and we were there for over 3 years.
Today, the Atlanta Community Food Bank works with more than 600 nonprofit partners to distribute over 60 million meals to 755,000 people in the 29 Metro Atlanta and North Georgia service area, and has become a model for other food banks around the country. For more than 52 years, Canterbury Court has helped improve the lives of residents and their families. Canterbury Court is a life plan community formed by St. Luke's and All Saints Episcopal churches in Atlanta. It is described as a vibrant senior community filled with caring, active, friendly people where the staff is outstanding, with future security available as residents' care needs may change as they age. From its roots in the civil rights movement, Emmaus House continues to work to harness the power of community, education, hope, and love to dismantle poverty, racism, and other barriers to opportunity in the lives and communities they serve.
Emmaus House is now an icon for the beloved community because of the diversity now of age, race, income levels. And it's Emmaus House that's the anchor for that diversity. About 5 congregations that I'm aware of in the Atlanta Diocese have been involved in all manner of activities at Emmaus House, ranging from tutoring students in the afternoons, working in the Poverty Rights Center, which is the emergency assistance, grocery, now assistance to families facing eviction, working with the Freedom School, that's summer school for students that is the first Freedom School funded in Georgia.
Emmaus House stands for justice and equity, rooted in faith and a deep respect for the dignity of every human being. Formed in 2017, the ABSalom Jones Center for Racial Healing is located on the campus of the Atlanta University Center and serves as a resource for the Worldwide Episcopal Church. Center programs are designed to support parishes and dioceses worldwide in their efforts to address racism through racial reconciliation and healing. The esteemed Dr. Catherine Meeks is Executive Director.
The primary project right now is the initiative known as Reimagining Policing. We have done Zoom presentations about reimagining policing, what that would mean. Dr. Meeks emphasizes that work needs to be done before we can all sing Kumbaya. And that comes from an understanding of what white supremacy means and has meant for generations in our country.
Our house provides shelter for families experiencing homelessness with an education program for children of these families.
We begin with the health of mother and baby, education, job training, and we make sure that when they leave, that we do follow-up visits as well. We have a second location that's focusing more on preschool and kindergarten, and they also work with homeless families to make sure they're getting all the benefits that they can and helping them again with job placement and training. So we really think about the whole family, whether it's financial literacy, reading at night, making meals. We want to make sure when that family leaves and is on their own, that they can be successful.
The campus of St. Luke's covers an entire city block, which has become known as the Campus of Miracles because of the many transformations which have taken place here through the work of our parish and associated ministries. Campus of Miracles programs are representative of ministries that were born and nurtured at St. Luke's to the point that they could become a separate nonprofit. Crossroads Community Ministries seeks to provide access to resources that empower people experiencing homelessness to progress on the road toward economic and personal stability. For over 20 years, Crossroads Community Ministries has been a leading provider of supportive services for those experiencing homelessness in our community. Last year, the staff and dedicated volunteers served over 4,200 men, women, and children, primarily through the Renewal Project, which consists of stabilization and job readiness training programs. Twice a year on Baptism Sundays, St. Luke's members of all ages are invited to the parish hall, and in assembly line fashion in just a few hours, thousands of sandwiches are put together and packed for delivery to Crossroads. The sandwich build during COVID was transformed into Love Hydration and collected 7,500 bottles of water for Crossroads. The Training and Counseling Center, also known as TAC, was founded by St. Luke's in the 1970s. TAC is a unique and long-standing nonprofit community counseling center located on St. Luke's campus. TAC strives to offer subsidized healing counseling services and also trains seminary students, clergy, and laypersons to provide spiritual care to persons in the urban community. TAC developed an interfaith and social justice-oriented clinical pastoral education program that has become a national model in the field of urban ministries. The Ansley School is a tuition-free private school for children who have experienced homelessness. The school began in the fall of 2018 in a space provided by St. Luke's to serve the first class of pre-K students. By fall of 2020, 2 more grade levels had been added to the school to serve approximately 45 students. The school's long-term goal is to serve students in grades pre-K through 8. Faith in Action Network, or FAN, is a ministry created to allow St. Luke's to strive for justice and peace through the active ministry of public policy advocacy.
You know, really, we're tackling what we see as the big issues, creating a safe place where people can come together to talk about tough subjects and to be accepting of different ideas. It is nonpartisan work, but it is work in support of, again, creating the kind of change that are needed if we are going to really live in a world of justice and peace.
So one of the things that I think is so amazing about the Faith and Advocacy Network here at St. Luke's is the people that you get to work with. We have some amazingly talented and gifted people in this church and that are so well connected in the city of Atlanta. And it really just draws on, I think, the history of St. Luke's. I mean, think back to the beginning of the soup kitchen. You know, efforts and activities like that are really core to St. Luke's, and we felt it was important to create a group like this to help amplify those efforts, amplify people's voices, work with other like-minded organizations in Atlanta or even nationally to really drive change.
Community of Hope is a lay pastoral care organization of the Episcopal Church. Through training, lay people are empowered to offer pastoral care and support to parishioners, their families, and friends who are going through a time of life transition.
Many of our visits can be with people who are experiencing grief or loss or extreme situations. That does happen. We also, though, especially during the age of COVID, we just try to stay connected to folks in our church family who might be somewhat isolated.
Fellowship of Intercessors prays daily in response to those requesting prayers for themselves, for their families, or friends. In these prayers, they lift up the requested concerns and the name of the person asking for prayers. The practice of praying with intention and naming those in need offers a spiritual power for those praying as well as for those receiving prayer. Eucharistic Visitors are lay members of St. Luke's, trained to bring communion to parishioners who are not physically able to attend church. The visitors serve the same person each month as long as communion is requested. This is an intimate ministry that creates a bond of service and shared worship between the visitor and parishioner. Respite Care Atlanta is a much-needed program providing daily activities for adults with cognitive difficulties. These activities not only promote the emotional and spiritual well-being of the participants, but will also provide welcomed respite for their caregivers.
For the volunteer, it is a great thing to be totally focused on somebody else, somebody not you, that really needs your help.
About 10 years ago, a group of parishioners were inspired by a St. Luke's workshop focusing on the spiritual call and practical matter of feeding the hungry in Atlanta. The mustard seed garden was the new approach to address food needs. Over 50 volunteers have developed the garden located on St. Luke's campus. Harvests from the garden's 3 yearly seasons of growth yields about 1,200 pounds of food for the kitchen at Crossroads Community Ministries. The Good Samaritan Care Team is a ministry of a lay-led service team dedicated to providing short-term, practical support to fellow parishioners. Services may include transportation, meal delivery, or other support deemed appropriate by the care team. Samaritans are grateful for the deeper connections that are formed with fellow parishioners as a result of this ministry. Holy Comforter is an Episcopal church in the Diocese of Atlanta, and about 60% of the community lives with mental illness. Traditionally, members of St. Luke's have provided a meal one Wednesday night a month.
When we took over the ministry, we decided that we wanted to cook for this congregation and try to cook healthy meals and bring them already prepped and do the final cooking down there.
Preparing and serving a Thanksgiving meal for the Holy Comforter community has been a highlight for St. Luke's volunteers.
Volunteers from St. Luke's really step it up. We will have a total of maybe 50 volunteers because it's a bigger production. There's more people. There's twice as many people that we serve at that time. It's a fun event and it brings a lot of people together.
Wow, isn't that amazing? You have just seen St. Luke's big love in action. Every day, these miracles occur on our campus at 435 Peachtree and throughout Atlanta. And so now it's your turn. You have now listened and learned about these community ministries. Now pray and reflect on what your personal and/or your family commitment is to your pledge, and then act on that commitment, because you are a part of the miracle, the big love that in fact lives. You can be a parishioner who is sharing heart, hands, and your voice to to make these community ministries real. Please do this today. Your pledge matters. Many, many thanks.